Okay, we're getting ready here for chapter 2 of Gates of Reincarnation. We're moving forward. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Do we really know chapter 1?
No, I should give you a test on chapter 1.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
There'll be nobody left, except maybe your rabbi over there.
No tests on chapter 1. But you will, don't worry.
I told you most people are in the world of I'll see you later.
I'll see you later.
I'll see you later.
Gotta have some.
Chapter 2 begins on page 30, but of course the orders of the pages in this, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're on Gates of Reincarnation, chapter 2. Okay. This chapter concerns the entry of Naran. What is Naran? Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama into new souls beginning their Gilgulim for the first time. Okay? Naran means Nefesh, that's level 1. Ruach is level 2, and Neshama is level 3. Okay? So this is going to be really what we call how, in your basic format, first time, new soul coming into the world. Okay? Which, I'm sorry to say, most likely none of us are. Okay? New souls. Okay? We're all old souls, which I don't know if that's a good thing, as you could see.
It's a good song, like
okay? So, actually, there's an earlier little spot here, just to give you the rundown, the basic gist, okay? It says, divisions of souls of Israelites, however, are 3. There's basically going to be 3 divisions. They're going to be, this is on page 1, or that's, I guess, after page 20. Don't go there. I'm just going to read it for you. They are new souls, intermediate souls, and old souls. Intermediate souls, we're going to discover, really comes from Cain and Abel. Adam is like the ultimate first new soul. And then intermediate, Cain and Abel. And then we'll have the old souls, which fell from Adam Arishon when he sinned, and they fell into what we call the klipot. If those of you are familiar with the klipot, right? The klipot are the husks, the shells, the physicality of matter that captivates and distracts a person, okay? So those are old souls. They fell into the klipot, which be us, okay? So now let's go chapter 1. Section 1 concerning the entry of Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. What happens if he does not completely rectify his Nefesh in the first Gilgul? So let's go. Here, the beginning, the big writing on page 30. In the beginning, in the first lifetime of a new soul, when a person is born and comes out into the atmosphere of the world, then his Nefesh enters into him. Okay? So this is talking about, look at the note here, this is talking about new souls, which will be explained later in chapter 7. This is also indicated by the fact that entry of the various stages of souls depends not only upon merit, we're going to see, but upon the passage of time sequences as well, as we're going to see right now. Time is also a factor when the degradations, the levels of souls come in, and I've gone over this with you before. He wants to just give this other little interesting note here on the side, because he wants to focus on the word. If you look in the wording, when it comes out into the atmosphere of the world, what does that mean, atmosphere? Okay? So what has been translated here as atmosphere is the Hebrew word of avir. Avir means literally air. Okay? In its modern usage, it is translated as air. And it certainly seems that the first is the parent of the second. What does that mean? The first atmosphere of the world. Like atmosphere comes before world. Okay? So in traditional literature, avir also means ether. Ether is the 5th spiritual element of existence. In addition to what we have here, water, fire, air, ruach, and earth. Okay? So he wants to indicate that there's this fifth element called the ether. My father-in-law, he was into this ether a lot, okay? And here he understands in ether, it is said that it is the element through which information passes. What I would want to call this ether is like this, a kind of like a network of all of the souls before it enters into or becomes congealed into existence. It goes through a stage from the spiritual realm, completely spiritual, into, it goes through what's called the ether until it will be manifest into this world. And this ether doesn't have necessarily a time or a place dimension, but it's some kind of primordial substance, okay, called the ether, okay? Said to be the connection point of all of our souls are in the ether. Anyways, we'll get more into that later. Okay, so first we have the understanding of, number one, when a person is born, what starts when he's born? Nefesh, level 1 soul. If going on in the main text, if he is adequately rectified through his actions, his ruach will enter at the end of his 13th year when he becomes a complete adult. So here the source in Kabbalah for bar mitzvah, it is rooted from a verse that we actually have in next week's parsha. No? Next week's parsha. Right? With Shimon and Levi, who basically go into Shechem and kill all of the males of Shechem. It said each man took his sword, right? And if you do the calculations how old Shimon was, I believe it was Shimon, or maybe it was Levi, Shimon and Levi. Shimon is a year older than Levi. It says each man took the sword and went and slayed everybody. So they says a man, and they did the calculations and they found out that I think it's Levi was 13. It was his bar mitzvah. Here's your bar mitzvah present, a sword. Today I am a fountain pen. Today I am a sword. Okay? So in any case, so they went into the town of Shechem, slicing and dicing. That is the actual physical verse in the Torah, right? And that a man is considered a man when he's 13. Okay? But of course, it's like hidden in the verses. You wouldn't know it. It doesn't, right? So in any case, 13, if he's adequately rectified through his actions, his ruach will enter at the end of his 13th year. Okay? So what does it mean by adequately rectified through his actions? Okay, so it says here, okay, but okay, Sha'az nikra ish gamor kanoda, that is means through his actions, through his masim, through his deeds and his Torah learning. Okay? So then 13 he becomes an adult, then he gets a ruach, level 2. The neshama will enter when he completes his 20th year, as it says in the Zohar. Okay? So this is talking about an ideal situation during a person's first reincarnation, his first Gilgul, as we will soon see. Okay, so that's the ideal situation. That's if a person comes in his first lifetime, that he gets boom, 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 you can get all three of them. That's the potential, that's the ideal situation. However, it's not like that. However, if he does not completely rectify his ruach,
Which you won't.
let's say he's working on his nefesh, and he's working on his nefesh. Great. He learns all his halacha, he learns his chumash, and we learned about that, learning your Torah shebichtav, the written law, right? But you didn't quite finish it. So if he does not completely rectify his ruach, it's kind of starting from backwards. Let's say he got his nefesh, and at 13 he gets his ruach, but he doesn't completely rectify his ruach, then what happens? Then the neshama will not enter him, and he will remain with only his nefesh and his ruach. Okay? Where do the nefesh... So the nefesh and the ruach are there. The nefesh didn't quite make the grade yet. It's working on it. Okay? But it didn't quite get there. So meanwhile, the neshama cannot come until level 2. The ruach is fixed, is completed. Okay? Likewise, it says, if he doesn't completely rectify his nefesh, if you don't finish level 1, then he will remain with only his nefesh, lacking both his ruach and his neshama. So the ruach and neshama, you're going to see right here, the next line, the ruach and the neshama will remain in a site known to the Holy One, blessed be He, and there's a place, and there a place will be prepared for each one. And then, so in other words, there's a hangout spot, which is hard to say. You talk about the spiritual dimension, there's a hangout spot, right? No, it's not on the corner of 53rd and the 610. Okay?
It's in LA.
Right? It's not on Melrose. Okay? So, obviously, there's a Gemara that it brings down, the Gemara in Nida, Daf Yud Gimel Amud Beit, I believe, 13, that brings down, there's this place, a reservoir of souls called the Goof. Goof. Interesting. Not Goofy. They changed it in a movie. You told me the name of that movie, right? That there was a movie a long time ago with, I forgot their names. Demi Moore. Oh, that came from Amazing. That was a miracle. Demi Moore, real young. She looks like she's 12 years old. I'm serious. I'm like going, and she's like pregnant with a, you know. So, anyways. Interestingly enough, the whole feature was about that it's understood that the Mashiach won't come until the goof is empty. It means this reservoir of souls, once this reservoir of souls is empty, that's when Mashiach will come. Okay? So according to the nations, how they wrote the script was that they call that means Armageddon. That means destruction. Right? Because the end of days, whatever they might, we're like, bring it on. Okay? Please. That's why we want to bring kids into the world. Because we want to empty out that reservoir. Okay? We want to empty out that reservoir because when that reservoir is empty, boom, we're there. Right? I mean, that's one way. Okay? In any case, it's called the goof. They changed it in the movie. They called it the guff. Because if they called it goof, then you think of Goofy. And then you think of Disneyland. So they had to go call it guff.
So
Okay.
which one is this? Which movie? I'm assuming
Some Wrinkle in Time. Something in Time.
That's a book.
Somewhere in
And then they
time.
put it into a
Somewhere in Time.
I was going to say, I don't think it was an indecent proposal.
Did you? And you didn't have to Google it.
My favorite movie.
I don't know.
But it's not Demi Moore.
Okay, sorry, I got it wrong then. Sorry. But what was the name? Okay, fine.
Wrinkle in Time?
I'll have to go back into the text you send me. Well, I'll get it after.
We can look up Demi Moore's movies.
Okay, fine. Not now. It's not important. The idea really here is the nefesh did not get fixed completely. So the ruach and the neshama are hanging out, yearning. When is this dude going to get his act together? Okay? When's that nefesh going to complete itself so that we can come? Because we want to connect to make a whole vessel. The idea, once again, is to make a whole vessel. Okay? We are in the process of becoming that conduit of infinite light, where we are going to be reflecting infinite light. Okay? Completely. Not like, waxing and waning like the moon. Okay? Complete, clear glass. Okay? And you got to have all three. You really have to have all five. But our mission, you're going to see right here in this chapter, is you just got to do 1, 2, and 3. And 4 and 5, Hashem gives it to you.
It's kind of like Pokemon, got to catch them all.
No, it's like the cereal boxes where you got to get all the bobbly heads. You got 9 players. Here you just have 3. Okay? You can't even get 1 together. How about you get 1? Okay? It's okay. We're going to get it. Okay? In other words, I'm reading note 3. In other words, until a person is able to receive all parts of his soul, the parts he has yet to receive remain hidden away by God until the person is ready for them. So they exist in potential, but they are not even, I don't even know if that's a word.
It means not completely manifested.
I thought that was a misspell.
No, it's correct. I just looked it up.
And what I mean?
It means not really manifested
Imperfectly
yet.
formed or developed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Thank you. And it's pronounced inchoate?
Yeah.
I was like, encholada.
Chalupa.
Enchojupes. Enchojate.
Chokiro Taco Bell.
Enchojate. Okay? Now, sorry. Now, okay, if a person does not completely rectify his nefesh the first time and dies, okay? So we're on step 3 now. This is case number 3. He doesn't completely fix his nefesh, level 1, and he leaves this world at a ripe old age of 120, but he didn't do what he needed to do. Then his nefesh will have to reincarnate even many times until it is sufficiently rectified. However, since he only achieved rectification through a Gilgul, it's a whole different classification now. Okay? If a person was a new soul and it's his first time, in his first lifetime, he can get 1, 2, and 3 in one lifetime. Once you didn't make even level 1, you have to come back and you're already called refurbished. Okay? You're already refurbished. Okay? Do you want a book? There's extra books in this box here.
Oh, okay. I forgot my book.
That's okay. There's always books we bring in the box. So then, however, since he only achieved rectification through a Gilgul, his Ruach will not enter in the same Gilgul where his Nefesh was completed, unless there is a pressing need. This is so big, as will be explained with the help of God. In other words, let's say you didn't make it to the first Gilgul. You didn't finish the Nefesh in Gilgul in your reincarnation number 1. Lifetime, you didn't get it. Okay. But let's say lifetime level 2, you got it. You're 20 years old and you have finished your Nefesh. Your Nefesh is complete and you are ready for a Ruach. You're ready for level 2, but level 2 ain't going to come down to you. You have to go back again and then we come to you.
So you gotta
Okay?
Please.
Yes, until you get your Ruach.
Why?
Unless there's a pressing need. That's what he says here. Since he only achieved rectification through a Gilgul, once he's reached Gilgul, his Ruach will not enter in the same Gilgul, in the same lifetime, whereas his Nefesh was completed, unless there is a pressing need. What is that pressing need? Okay? That was like, this is the most mysterious thing. Me and my father-in-law, we kept hitting it, and something inside me was stirring. Okay? Because it's very deep. Okay? As will be explained with the help of God, we're gonna look at that right now. Just read note 4 for now. Had it been his first Gilgul, then he would have received his Ruach, while still alive in his body. This is not the case if the Nefesh is completed during a subsequent Gilgul, during subsequent Gilgulim, and this will be claimed in 38. Now, I'm gonna really jump ahead here a little bit, okay? Because we really would like to know what this pressing need is. Because if, let's say, all of us right here after this class have completed our Nefesh for some reason, let's say, and right, we'd like our Ruach to come here, okay? We want to have that happen. Don't worry, there's a fail-safe. But you can do it. Now, what does it mean, a pressing need? So now, one thing is, I'll just share with you the exact language that it brings down here. One second. Okay.
Recordings and no one can get the secret. I know. You have to be here. And
You just said you want to say the wrong thing and put it on.
No. I want to have this right in front of you, and it's very important. Okay?
It's like those ads you see. They like, oh, read this and we'll tell you everything. And you get there, it's like, oh, no, you got a bad book.
This is very bizarre. Yeah, right? Now you can subscribe.
We'll give you a free flight and a free this, but first.
You know,
The people online getting it.
While you're doing, I had one question.
Yes.
When we start out, we use the word reincarnation for the Ruach, but if it's the first soul coming into the world, why wouldn't it be just carnation rather than reincarnation?
The first one should be a carnation.
and
I agree with you.
incarnation. Yeah,
I agree
not a
with you.
reincarnation.
I agree with you. But we'll call it a Gilgul because it is a rolling from Adam Arishon. Let's say Adam Arishon was the real first soul. So that would be, we call the incarnation, the first incarnation. Everyone after that is going to be a rollover.
From Adam Rishon.
Yes. But they're still called new souls coming from that aspect of Adam Arishon. Okay?
So they would all be carnation.
What?
If they're new souls, would they be all carnations?
Not really. It's a reincarnation, but it's a reincarnation of a new soul. Okay, we'll get to it later.
Because of the branch soul concept.
It's a different place where Adam's soul. Listen. I'll just. Okay, fine. You pushed me to the wire here. You're pushing me. You're pushing me, and it's good. I'm glad. I'm going to try. Hashem, please
Here's
help me to
Adam, like one,
say this clearly.
And you come out, right?
It says that a person does not.
But that's your new soul. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It says that a person does not sin unless a ruach shtus comes into him. Ruach shtus means a spirit of stupidity. Okay? A spirit of folly. Let's go biblical. A spirit of folly has entered into him. A spirit of folly, when it means the person is captivated, he's totally taken by that sin that he's about to do. Nothing can stop him. It's like his eyes become glass. Whatever it is, he's in a trance. He goes into he's almost in a trance. Okay?
Ruach what?
Ruach shtus. Spirit of stupidity, of silliness.
It's Yiddish?
Silly. Ruach shtus.
Yiddish.
Shtuyot. Shtuyot. B'ivrit, it's shtuyot. Silliness. Listen, what does that mean? A ruach, a spirit of folly entered into him. Part of his brain's checked out. His level of consciousness is not there. Okay? A full throttle, full clarity is not there. Meaning part of his soul left him. Okay? Part of his soul says, oh boy, man, you going in there? I'm out of here. I am not going into that bar with you.
Oh.
You go yourself, buddy. So his higher levels of his existence, his higher levels of mind, let's call it soul, do not want to participate in such an act. When Adam Arishon was reaching for that tree of knowledge of good and evil, elements of his very soul said, we out of here. Okay? And they went back to their source.
Kind of like disassociation.
We ain't getting involved. So those elements of Adam's consciousness that split at the time of the sin, okay, come back as new souls. Got it? That the Baal Shem Tov was considered to be one of them. Okay? Okay, they're all included in the soul of Adam, but were on the split division? Or were they really getting into it? Okay? So, in any case, that's why you can consider it still, it's a new soul, but it still comes from Adam.
Yes.
Okay? So now we have to get into this pressing need. Okay? Because the person finishes nefesh, he's ready for his ruach, but his ruach ain't coming unless there's a pressing need. So here he says there's a verse that you should say, and you're all gonna have to. Yeah, actually, it's on page 60 if you see it. Go to page 60.
Just
Okay.
one page over.
It's not one page over. It's in chapter 3, the end of chapter 3.
Everybody's
Just one page over.
said 3.8.
All right, sorry.
So where's the Ruach Shtus fit into what you're about to tell us?
Sorry. That ruach shtus means that part of the person's mind, his mental faculties, of terms of clarity.
But when this is operational, now this is going to come into play with page 60, or no?
Right now. I'm just going to tell you something else really bizarre. Okay? This is really unbelievable.
Because it hasn't been decided.
Everything is like unbelievable. Okay? It says in Genesis, the very beginning, the very chapter, when it says, okay, I need to make somebody a helpmeet for man, right? So it says, and he puts Adam to sleep. And then he created Eve, right? There's no verse that says he woke him up. It's huge. The Kutzker Rebbe says mankind is still sleeping. We're still sleeping. That clarity that was taken from him during that tardema, that heavy sleep, was what was a major force in terms of why he sinned, eating the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the Kutzker Rebbe says every single generation, every single individual has to try to get himself awake. The whole force is to awaken ourselves, to reach a clarity. Okay.
Talking about soul awakening.
Yeah, I mean, awake. You could be awake, but we're all in hypnosis, anyways. Okay. We're all under through the whole day. You probably know it. We're going through hypnotic trances throughout our whole day, if not 10 times a day. Okay? The idea here is a certain clarity. So here, there's a verse that you say, okay, that if a person knows, right? Here he brings down in the parish, okay, that if a person knows to fix completely his soul, then by way of saying this verse, Nafshi ivisicha balayla, my nefesh has desired you at night. You see it in 1, 2.
Yes.
My nefesh has desired you at night, right? Afruchi bekirbi asharecha. Ashcharecha.
We don't see it. After you.
Right, it's right here, page 60.
But where's the page?
Right here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Where's the Hebrew? No.
My nefesh has desired you at night, even with my ruach that is with me will I seek you. Okay? Im kavana, so you say that with kavana, yechol hamshich as a ruach b'kirbo. You can draw your ruach to you. That's at night specifically. Okay?
Any particular time?
When you go to sleep. Okay? In other words, you can go to sleep and wake up with the ruach. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And you should. And this is the month of sleeping. The tikkun of sleep is this month. Okay? Because it's whatever. That's a whole nother class. Okay? Whole nother book. Okay, brother? The idea here, no. But this is we didn't really get into pressing need. Now, what occurs to me is pressing need is very, how do you call it?
Something paramount.
No. Subjective. Right? Couldn't it be? That within you, if it's pressing, that's pressing. Right? Maybe for somebody else, it's not so pressing. Right? So the idea really is it comes from the Avos. You know, when the children of Israel were by the Sea of Reeds, and here they are turning around and seeing these Egyptians chasing after them, right? Fiercely, right? And they start, what do?
Panic.
They start praying. And Rashi brings down, why are they praying? He says, Minhag avosam biadam, the custom of their fathers. That was the trade that they inherited from their forefathers. Avram, Isaac, and Yaakov prayed, right? So they get this is all we know how to do. Okay? Is pray. Okay? But the weird thing is if you look at the forefathers, you know, there's no place in the forefathers where they were praying that they were being chased by wild Egyptians. Okay? You know, it says Yitzhak was coming out from the field at the twilight of the evening after his meditation. Okay? You know, it was a real Buddha moment. Okay? L'chavdil elef havdalas. Okay? That means to divide. Okay? You know, so, Rivka sees him coming out of the field, with a glowing light, after his afternoon meditation. Avram Avinu stands to the certain place and prays for the people of Sodom. Okay? Now maybe there was one place where Avram was praying. It doesn't say he was praying when he went and fought against the 4 and 5 kings. Okay? Maybe Yaakov Avinu prayed when he had to fight Esav. Okay? Esav was coming with 400 men. But by and large, their prayers were not, it's kind of like, the Jewish people are in a tight spot. The Avos, most of their lives were not in a tight spot. But the idea really is, when the Avos prayed, they prayed as if they were in the tight spot. In other words, their prayer every time that they were praying, if it was mincha on a normal day, they were praying as if they were being chased by the Egyptians. And in evening prayer, they were praying as if they were chased by the Egyptians. They had a sense of urgency, the pressing need, subjective, as if they were being chased by the Egyptians. In other words, they had a sense of urgency to fix the world. So really a person can develop within himself that sense, and he has to really find in himself, that sense of pressing need. Okay? That sense of urgency. And therefore, you say this verse, right? At night, the one what I just did on page 60, from Yeshaya 26:9. Can nafshi ivisicha balayla, my soul, nefesh. Don't forget, it has in the verse, it has nefesh, my nefesh, and it has ruach in the same verse. So you're putting your nefesh with your ruach together in that verse when you go to sleep at night. Okay? Night, sleep has to be as an unbelievable hefty avoda. Not because you're tired. Remember, sleep has to be elevated. Sleep has to be, I am now physically, in reality, giving my soul to you. I am doing a tremendous thing of handing over my soul to you, God. Okay? It's a tremendous holy act that you're doing, that you're capable of doing every single night when you go to sleep. And that takes your mundane activity of sleep and turns it into a very holy act in which you are able to actually bring down extra levels of your soul. You wake up a new person. Okay? You got a question?
Yeah, we say to home for the sick.
Yes.
And that can be very intense because there's
Pressing need.
very much. A little girl, 12 years old, with leukemia, another one had stroke, whatever, 9. But we're told not to say Tehillim at night or till after midnight.
Listen, the tradition of the Sephardim and the Mekubalim is not to say Tehillim at night. However, I have heard many people say we're in such a low state these days, you can go ahead and say Tehillim at night.
Okay.
I personally don't. I personally don't read Torah Shebichtav at night. Okay? I do not read written law at night unless you read it with commentary. You can't just read straight. Tehillim, I've heard that you can say it also at
about
night these
the
days.
Tehillim?
Most people don't do it at night. We refrain from it. But if that's the only time you can do it. What?
They say
Because
after-
Torah Shebichtav is called dinim. Din. Judgment.
I think
So
that's-
therefore you are giving a gateway for the powers of judgment. Because nighttime is the nighttime of the powers of judgment where they float all around the world causing trouble.
But why, if you're saying Tehillim?
Yeah, those
bring
guys.
down bad judgment. If you're saying
Listen, you don't want to attract, you don't want to be anywhere near close to the energy of judgment in any form. You don't want to say psukim which awaken any form of judgment in any resonance whatsoever. It's just what they do, man.
140 to 150, that's it.
I don't know what
So
140,
praise God.
150
Those
is.
are sounds,
Those are all,
special sounds.
Hey, listen, like I say, there's many Rebbitzins and many rabbis who say we're in such a low, dilapidated state these days where you could just do it because we need rachamim. We need a lot of rachamim. We need a lot of
Is
compassion.
that different with the Chevra Kadisha with the Tehillim all night?
No, that's fine. Listen, these are different.
Yeah.
Because, I'm just saying standard. If you're going to, let's say you're facing your bookshelf, it's nighttime, you want to do some study. So you got oral law versus written law, you reach for oral law. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Okay?
there are sometimes when you live in there somewhere in Russia, the sun in winter.
You got
just
12
doesn't
hours of
come
sun-
for 3 hours
of
and
of
that's what
nighttime.
it works.
You got 18 hours of nighttime. You got to, so don't worry about it.
In the
Doctor,
winter, there's
we
only
don't
3
worry
hours.
about it. I've told you, just don't worry about it, okay?
I have a question. So, how come after midnight we can say it?
Of course, yes.
After midnight.
Yes. So it's tremendous to say it after midnight. I'm talking about the first part of the night.
Talk about 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30.
Fine. Okay. Right. Okay. Are we okay? So here we're going back to the pressing need. Okay. Unless there's a pressing need. So if there's a pressing need, you now have the formula for the pressing need. You have to write this verse. Go ahead and print it out. Put it above your bed at night. Okay. Try to say it every night and do it. Okay. Okay. Going on here. He will have to die and return. So now this is the classic case. The classic case, once again, here, not the classic case, sorry, this is the case where the person came back in a reincarnation. He finished his nefesh. He's not coming up with any pressing need. He's not urged with any pressing need. And so his ruach will not join him in that lifetime. He will have to go, die, and return in order to receive the ruach. Furthermore, once the ruach is sufficiently rectified, then he will have to reincarnate again before receiving his neshama, as was the case with the ruach. In other words, they won't come and join you even though you're fixed. You're a nice, young, ripe age of 64, and the new neshama would be willing to come, but because you are a refurbished Apple computer, we cannot go ahead and load our program into you. Okay, you have to go and come back again. And then the neshama will come at birth, mind you. Doesn't have to wait till 20. You don't have to wait till 42. It comes at birth. Okay? The nefesh of the ruach, whatever it is, that extra part of the soul comes at birth. Okay? Note 5. After he finally rectifies his nefesh and dies in the next reincarnation, he'll return with the nefesh and the ruach. Once the ruach is rectified as well, then he will die and come back in another Gilgul with a nefesh, ruach, and a neshama. If the ruach is not sufficiently rectified, then the nefesh and the ruach will have to come back again, perhaps many times, until the ruach is rectified. Then the person will die, and his nefesh and ruach will come back and reincarnate together with the neshama until all three are rectified. Okay? Once this is done, there is no need for any further Gilgulim. Everybody, whoo. Okay? Once you get all three, when his neshama is rectified, he has become a quote-unquote complete person. Now, you asked me last week an interesting question, because I did mention in briefing, somebody asked me about the 3-strike rule. Okay? 3-strike rule, that means if there's a completely wicked person, Hashem will, whether he did finished it or not, whenever he finished all of his nefesh, ruach, and neshama or not. Okay? If the guy's just deeds are just completely, just downright ugly. 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 lifetimes, okay. It's a wash. We're just going to move you through Gehenna. We'll clean you up as best you can. And we're going to give you the mitzvahs for whatever little mitzvahs that you did in those 3 lifetimes we'll give you. Okay? You'll be a midget in the next world, but you'll get reward. Okay? And on the other side of the scale, because it says here several times, a person to finish the nefesh could take a couple of lifetimes. It could take a lot of lifetimes. So I mentioned that there was one case, and this is very important, and you have to really be so grateful right now that we're all here learning Torah, because thank God for Torah. Okay? There's the case of Acher. Acher was one of the biggest heretics known. Just let me finish this. Biggest heretics known, right, in the oral law. His original name was Elisha ben Abuya. He was one of the 4 that went into the Pardes, this unbelievable mystical realm, and he came out and basically threw off all of the teaching of the rabbis, the entire Torah, and became a complete heretic. But he was the biggest genius of them all. He knew everything. He was a master, a real master. Okay? So the thing with Acher is, because he learned Torah, and we're going to learn that later on, the fires of Gehenna cannot touch you. Someone who learns Torah, the fires of Gehenna cannot touch you. The person will reincarnate up to 1,000 times until he gets what he needs to get. There's a downside to it. That's a lot of schlepping. There's an upside to it, because there's a lot of mitzvahs. A lot more mitzvahs that you could do in this lifetime.
What about Esav?
What about Esav?
Yeah, you Torah back to him and he ended up going again.
Well, Esav wasn't considered to be in the family of the Jewish souls. Okay? He was from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but even though he did this a mitzvah that nobody in all of Judaism can match up to, which I have my own questions about. But still, there's merit to that. You know, we believe in Judaism that you don't have to be Jewish to have a portion in the next world. Did you know that? You don't have to be Jewish. You could be a Gentile and get a portion in the next world. What a bargain!
What did Esau do?
Esav was a master of honoring his parents that nobody could even reach a hair. I don't know exactly what. I don't know exactly how, and everybody says nobody really knows. But the tradition is this guy fulfilled the mitzvah of honoring his mother and father. I don't know how, because his mother saw right through him. He saw he was a drek. There's a neshama, there's a drek in neshama. Right? He saw right through him. I see right through you, Esav. Just give it up, man.
You say a person that honored the parent. A Jewish person, or you mean a Gentile?
Gentiles get a portion in the next world.
Okay, but when the person when the person gets the final stage in there, does it have to be Jewish, or it can be still
Final
Gentile?
stage of what? This Nefesh Ruach Neshama doesn't apply to
Well,
Gentiles.
rectified.
What?
When everything, the world
When
to come, or
everything
the
is
world that's
rectified, you
coming.
get the neshama.
What?
He's asking the Gentiles.
I'm asking you. If
Does
a Gentile get a neshama?
Jews.
No, a convert gets a neshama. A Gentile doesn't get. He will complete a nefesh, and he gets a portion in the next world. He's only responsible to complete his nefesh. Okay, we'll use that.
So we're talking about neshama that only pertains to Jews.
Yes, currently. I could be wrong. We could look at it at a later point. Let's just use that as a construct for now, because I'm never 100% on anything that I say. Okay. Okay. That's like, I should have used that caveat in the beginning. By the way, everything, don't rely on me. Okay. We're just learning together, folks, okay? We're studying together. I appreciate all of your input, and I really do, okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can
What's
ask a
written?
question. What?
What's written? I just have a question.
Sure, please.
After number 4, it says, he will have to die and return in order to receive the Ruach. Furthermore, once the Ruach is sufficiently rectified, you have to reincarnate.
Again.
Why can't he get his neshama if his Ruach is rectified in this lifetime?
Okay, good. It's like, so the same format works like this. The format works like this. Once you had to reincarnate once, in other words, once you came in and you did not fix that nefesh completely, you're called to reincarnate, you're called to refurbish. It's a completely different program, and you have to reincarnate each and every time to get the next level.
Thank you.
All right?
It's a way of maximizing everything.
Well, the idea really is the upside of reincarnating 1,000 times is think of all the mitzvahs that a person accrues. It's fantastic. It's a schlep, but it's good. So to learn Torah, thank you God for the Torah. Thank you God for the Torah. The fires of Gehenna cannot touch you, but it means you might have to schlep. Okay, but let's get the whole piece here. We're still new in the game here. Okay, yes.
If someone learned any bit of Torah any time in their life, fires are Gehenna.
I don't know if it's a one-time deal. They ask a soul, and when a soul goes up after their 120 life, right, 120 years, then one of the first questions they say is, did you fix a time to study? You have to fix a time. It can't be, a little here, a little
How
there.
about if on Friday night and you're discussing Torah at the Shabbos table?
That's not really Kovea Etim. Kovea Etim means like you're going to set some time every day, even if it's 5 minutes, really, to set a time.
Just time?
Kovea Etim Latorah. Did you set times? It is plural, you're right. The language is a plural. Did you set times? Okay? But really it means like, you have to set a time every day.
Like a routine time.
Whatever routine, whatever it is, 5 minutes, you're going to open up a sefer.
Let's say
Okay?
you did it for 10 years and you stopped.
I hope that it doesn't happen because Torah is an unusual wisdom.
Right.
As soon as you stop, you leave it for 1 day, it leaves you for 2 days. You hear that?
I hear you.
You will forget the Torah. The Torah has this special energy that it's made to be forgotten as soon as you stop. It's just one of those things. Me, it's like as soon as I learn it, it's just out the other ear, and I'm like, "What did I learn
That's
5
why
minutes
we
ago?"
need to
Okay, yeah.
Engage ourselves in Torah.
If a baby dies, let's say, this boy baby, he's had his bris, and he dies. He hasn't had time to study Torah.
What a garden of Emunah talks about
Okay,
that.
you just okay.
Maybe that's
Okay, let's throw you in. Since we're learning gates of reincarnation, I'll throw the Gilgul story with you. The Baal Shem Tov. They really tell us about the Baal Shem Tov. Gets in his, he does these mystical tours, mystery tours a lot. He has all of a sudden, he goes, Hevre, we're getting in. We got to go somewhere. It's Friday morning. We got Shabbos. Get in.
The windows are all
We're all in the car. He gets in his carriage. They ride. They tell Alexis. They give him a bottle of vodka. They say, Alexis, turn around. Just let the reins go. The horses go to some place. It's a mystery tour. Literally, that's how he worked. Okay? Listen. Not every story of the Baal Shem Tov is proven. Rabbi Nachman says they're all true. But the one thing you have to say and hold inside of you very, very deeply, they don't tell stories like that about you or me. Okay? And there's a lot of them. Okay? Anyways, they end up at this house, and it's Friday morning in some village somewhere, and they knock on the door, and they go, oh my gosh, the Baal Shem Tov is here. Welcome, Holy Master. We're so happy that you're here. It happens to be an amazing day. We're doing a circumcision, right, of my son. Fantastic. Can you be the sandek? Be the sandek. They do the circumcision. The mother takes the baby into the next room and the baby dies right after the bris. They bury the kid, and everybody's like just completely blown away, besides themselves. And he tells the story that the famed author of the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, was named Yosef Cairo, lived in Sfat, a holiest man to the utmost. Not one thing missing. Not one shred of everything to the T. Okay? Except he wasn't circumcised the 8th day. Because he was jaundiced, yellow, wasn't...
Too small.
So his soul had to come back down for that one thing only. In other words, his soul was complete in Torah and wisdom. He just needed to fix this little thing. Okay? And so once he was circumcised the 8th day, his tikkun was finished. And he was able to move on. Okay? So, it's a hard story because mama still ain't happy. Okay? So, intellectually it helps. Reincarnation, the whole concept of Gilgulim, it helps, but it's hard to get it really down into the heart. Okay? We're still in pain, but it helps. Okay? Anyways, let's go section 2. What? Okay, we're not moving on. What?
You're talking about a child that had shortened life. Very shortened. What about miscarriages?
The same thing. It's all part of the same thing. Listen, it's another miscarriages, all these kind of things are tikkunim for different neshamas. They have to come in here for a few months even. It's all tikkun. Once you say the word tikkun, it helps also. It's another sliver for our own minds. You don't tell other people, it's your tikkun, man, because that doesn't make people feel good. Okay? So it's for a person's, for himself to his own self. It's my tikkun, it's his tikkun, it's her tikkun, it's everyone's tikkun, but this is for your own, to give yourself just an extra and maybe an inch of shalvat hamoach, of peace of mind. Okay? It helps us to have a greater level of emunah. It's all about emunah. Okay? Okay, section 2, different levels of rectification. When the nefesh is rectified, but not the ruach, the process of reincarnation may develop in one of two ways explained in this section, depending upon the extent of rectification of the nefesh. Now we're getting into case 3. If a person rectified his nefesh and came back to receive and complete his ruach, but during that Gilgul, he sinned. Okay, before we weren't talking about sinning. Okay? But during that Gilgul he sinned, then his nefesh will not be affected in such a way that it will be forced to come back by itself to become rectified once again, because that ois geschleppen, right? It would be such a schlep, right? In other words, the nefesh got fixed. It got locked in. Great. Awesome. Came back. Great. It came back with the ruach. Both of them are working together. It's awesome. Great. Okay? I think, Doctor, we need your charger. You want to hook it up? Anthony. It's on this side. Okay?
Can you hook it up for him?
So...
And push this button. Don't take it apart.
So, thank God, Baruch Hashem, if you completed your nefesh completely, and your ruach now came in lifetime number 2, don't pay attention to these guys, okay? It's not rocket science to plug it in, guys, okay? So, it'll reach, okay? So, and then he sinned. So what happens? Does his nefesh... It's fine. Okay? Okay? Once the nefesh has been completely rectified and has returned to work on ruach, the nefesh is protected from any further damage. Otherwise, for some people, the rectification process might go on forever. Okay? Since he now has a ruach, the sin will only damage the ruach until rectification will be achieved. Therefore, if an additional reincarnation is necessary to rectify the ruach, then both the rectified nefesh and the incomplete ruach will come back again together. They still hang out together, even though the nefesh did not take any damage but the ruach does. Okay, this will continue until the ruach is rectified, after which he will have to die in order for the rectified nefesh and ruach to reincarnate with the neshama. Okay, if he sins during these 3 Gilgulim, okay.
Doesn't say 3.
If he sins during these Gilgulim, then it will only damage the neshama just as we explained with respect to the rectification of the ruach. In other words, if you fixed your nefesh and you fixed your ruach, okay, and then you came back in the lifetime number 3, and you got your neshama, but then a person sinned, only the neshama gets damaged. His nefesh and his ruach are secure, okay? It's like a
Then you
certain...
need another Gilgul.
They got a firewall, okay? There's a firewall. What?
You need another Gilgul.
Well, you'll have to come back till you get that neshama together, okay?
And the subsets.
Yes, okay? It can also happen, page 32, okay? It can also happen that the nefesh becomes rectified and purified to such a great extent that it need not come back again with the ruach for the rectification of the ruach. That's gewalt. In other words, a person really did a real good spot job on his nefesh, his level 1 soul. Just a real spot job, right? And it doesn't have to come back down again. Woo! Rather, the nefesh remains above in a place fitting for it, bound up in the bundle of life. The bundle of life, you might recall, here it's going to explain here in the note here. One of the different levels of rectification is so complete that the level of soul that has been rectified never comes back again. That's right. All y'all might have your nefesh tucked away in some really nice place, right? On a beach. On a beach, drinking a margarita, okay? Okay? But your nefesh, your ruach is here. Okay? Instead, it remains above, bound in the bundle of life. Bound up in the bundle of life is a traditional term denoting eternal life. It is similar to the concept of the world to come. That's according to the Ralbad. This term appears prominently in the memorial prayer that, if everybody remembers, in the Yizkor service, and they say this in the Keil Male all the time when they're doing... Yes, B'tzrur HaChayim. B'tzrur HaChayim, may his soul be bound up in the bundle of life with the souls of the righteous. So bound up in the bundle of life comes from a pasuk in Samuel that says, if a person rises up to chase you and to seek your life, may my master's nefesh be bound in the bundle of life with Hashem your God, and may the nefesh of your enemy be flung about in the Kaf HaKela, purgatory. Okay? These are the words of the beautiful Avigail blessing. I don't know why he threw that beautiful in. These are the words, she was beautiful. There's like 4 of the most beautiful women in the world, and she was one of them. Okay? Of Avigail's blessing to King David, blessing King David for the mercy that he showed her and her despicable husband. Her husband was despicable, an ingrate, totally. King David protected this guy from all kinds of enemy armies and people who would come and rob his stuff. He was security. He was a good security for that whole area. And then finally, King David needed some help. I need some provisions for my men. And Neville says, go fly a kite, dude. Right? It's like, that's not nice. That's just plain old not nice. So then he was going to come and kill Neville. So Abigail basically gets together at nighttime, all these provisions for King David and his men, loads all these donkeys, and meets him in the middle of the night and says, here, just leave my husband alone, please. He's a Rachmanis case. Okay? And so it means compassion. So David basically showed compassion. And Abigail, she ended up later marrying King David. Okay?
Now you know why they said beautiful.
Why did the husband die?
Because he was a lowlife. Actually, he died. How did he die in the end? He got sick and died one night. Just passed away. Right? I think it was that night itself. Like, oh, he's dead. Oh, okay, well, guess I don't have to do that. Okay. Right? Oh, he had to reincarnate into a rock, I believe. Okay? So she would later, after the death of her husband, marry King David. Obviously, the term to be bound in the bundle of life describes some sort of ultimate protection for the king when his enemies are chasing after him. So it's a protection. Firewall. The best. Okay? Bound with a bundle of life seems to be some kind of protective envelope that makes him impervious to any death or any evil from getting at him or entering within him, right? So, in other words, may the force be with you, okay? In modern times, it is difficult it is difficult for the term not to remind us of the bundling and bunching together of the strands of DNA, the bundle of life, when those elements reproduce and recombine. Later sages used the phrase not only to denote protection in this world, but protection in the life after death from any vicissitudes. Did I say it right?
Yes, vicissitudes.
That
Changes.
could, thank you, that could occur there. Similarly to the concept of resting in peace. So in this sense, it is opposite of the simple meaning of the last part of the verse. May the nefesh of your enemy be flung about in what's called the kafakela. Anybody ever heard of kafakela? We call it the slingshot. Kaf means like a sling, and kela means like swinging, okay? It's a slingshot, meaning after a soul dies, if they're naked, right, and if they're a naked soul, meaning they're devoid of any mitzvahs and and they're only full of averas, they don't get to go to their final resting place. Gehenna is good. They wish they could go to Gehenna. Gehenna is a cleaning. It's the scrub. So you can be clean and shiny. So you can receive the light. Okay? It's like the dishwasher. You don't know what goes on in there, but it's hot. Okay? I wish they had a window with that one time. You could just see it. Anyways, as soon as you open up, everybody's just quiet in there. So in any case...
There's a YouTube video. They film inside.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay. In any case, now I forgot where I was. Okay? Okay.
The way the Rav.
Let's go a little bit further. Okay? Where am I?
The way the Rav is using.
The way the Rav is using the term here implies resting in peace nearby to the Creator to such an extent that the soul need not reincarnate any longer. Bundled up in the bundle of life means no more reincarnation. Okay? Totally secure. No more schlep. It will also be worthwhile to briefly explain the term above. What does it mean by above? The Hebrew word comes from the word elah. All Hebrew words come from three-letter words. Elah means cause. That's a dynamic. The cause of causes. Obviously, is God, the infinite creator. Thus, above refers to a place that is so close to God, close to the source of all things, and close to such an extent that it is almost beyond the realm of cause and effect, beyond cause. The nefesh that is so completely rectified, we just have to get to here just a few more minutes. The nefesh that is so completely rectified that it need not come back again will remain above, bound in the bundle of life. But what happens to the ruach? How can the ruach come into the world to receive its rectification? It needs a nefesh. It needs a car. It needs a chariot. It needs something to dress in. So here we go. In such a case, the ruach would have to come back alone to rectify itself. However, that is not possible. It cannot come alone without being ensconced in some nefesh. Okay? The ruach cannot come down into a body without the presence of a nefesh. In this case, however, the nefesh that has undergone such a complete tikkun will not return to reincarnate. What do? Here comes the answer, and then we'll leave it for now. Therefore, it reincarnates, meaning that ruach that's ready to fix itself, reincarnates with the nefesh of a ger. A convert stranger, as it says in the Zohar, in the Sabbath and Mishpatim, they will reincarnate together until the Ruach is rectified. So, the Ruach, which is in the Garden of Eden, this goof, this reservoir of souls, needs to come into this world, but its nefesh went and split and checked out, and now it's on Honolulu. Well, it's Honolulu in a beach, right? Right?
No, is the Ruach of the ger that has to be rectified, or the ruach of the...
So the nefesh of the ger is not necessarily even completely fixed yet. It's a coat in the coat room in the lower Garden of Eden. It's reservoir of souls. Apparently, there's these nefesh of the gerim, whole wardrobe section, big. Okay, you think Costco's big? Okay. Sorry. So anyways, so so he needs a coat. He needs a nefesh. So it borrows takes the nefesh of a ger, dresses in the nefesh of the convert, and then it comes down into this world to fix itself. Once that is achieved, then the person dies, and the first nefesh comes back to join with it, the ruach. Holy brother, thank you. right? In order to receive and rectify the neshama until the neshama is also completed. Sometimes the ruach may come back by itself with the neshama until the neshama is rectified. That means the ruach now becomes like a garment for the neshama. After which time the three of them no longer need to return, are instead bound up in the bundle of life, drinking beer in the Hofbrau house in Munich. Okay, all together, l'chaim. Okay, so sorry, we'll stop here. Okay, because we have to talk about the nefesh of the ger a little bit. We'll finish it off. I don't want to go too much over. Okay, so but anyways, because we'll go over this topic. But bottom line here, we learned a couple of things today just to go over, okay? One is, once you're a refurbished soul, you're going to have to come each and every time to get the new addition, okay? The new addition to your soul, okay? So if a person sinned, of course, Baruch Hashem, if he fixed his nefesh totally, the nefesh is going to be secure. If he fixed his nefesh and his ruach totally, it's going to be totally secure, right? If he's like... So it's only whatever is being worked on in that lifetime is going to be affected if a person were to sin, okay? Not already fixed parts, elements of his soul, okay? And then, of course, what we have here is basically what happens. There could even be a circumstance where the nefesh gets so fixed it never needs to come back. But the nefesh needs to come back to complete itself. So how does the nefesh come back? It needs to take a nefesh of a ger, the nefesh of a convert, and come back into this world, and the nefesh... And that nefesh and that ruach will come back, work together in order to complete the ruach. Okay, and then we'll end off with that. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, is there a fixed number of souls? And then,
Well,
and that's it?
the only thing I can tell you, I cannot tell you that because the only thing that we have, in terms of, let's say, we only have 600,000 root souls.
Right.
Those roots have to be complete. So now they have obviously sparked off and branched off into all the millions of Jews that we have now, right? So I don't know how many in the end, how many millions of souls there are. We don't have a number.
Okay.
Not in anything, and not in any book or text that I have gone through.
Now, a root soul was there at Sinai.
Yes.
How could any soul come back? How could any soul come down that has not been incarnated? They're all incarnated at Sinai.
Yes, it's true. Every soul was there at Sinai. It's true. But there are some, let's say, we'll even say, some new souls, some intermediate souls, and old souls. They were all there at Sinai in the sense of the root sense. Okay? In other words, we were all there at Sinai, but it was in the root sense. Okay?
For like a rock to reincarnate better, like to become a human.
Of course. There's 4 levels. I don't like to go into the scary books too much. Like, people reincarnated into rocks, okay? It's not pleasant. Because you're hoping that some holy Jew is going to sit on you, okay? And maybe he'll say a kapitel tehillim. And then you'll get elevated, and then you get to move on. The reason why people would reincarnate into such a thing was because they spoke in their lifetime too much gossip. So then they have to, it's time out and time to be quiet. So rocks are very quiet, usually, okay? Except for with Yaakov Avinu, okay? But that was like a special...
Four levels.
What?
What are the 4 levels?
Oh, inanimate, plant, life, animal, and speaking.
I heard like the walls of synagogue, they're reincarnated, so they can hear everything that people say.
There are definitely sparks. I don't know if they're souls, because sometimes they interchange both terms. A spark is one thing, and yes, I'm sure the Hasidic text will probably tell you yes, some kind of souls are in there, and they are elevated by the words of Torah and the prayers that are said in your house. Also,
It's the watchers.
you have to learn Torah in your house. It's a blessing for the house.
The watchers.
You always have to say Torah out loud in your house because the vibrations of those letters permeate all of the walls of your house and get for a blessing. Yes.
I just wanted to you mentioned that at the very beginning,
Yes.
the next movie was the 7th sign.
The 7th sign. Thank you. Got it. 7th sign. Debbie Moore. She looks about 12 years old. I'm telling you. She's like,
Was
what?
Nicolas Cage in that?
The world is going to end because the gulf is not full.
Right. No, she's the last baby of the goof. right? And once that baby is born, so then the goof will be empty, and then for them it was Armageddon. For us, it would be Mashiach, right? But so therefore, at the end of the movie, I'll just let you know to cut to the chase. Should I spoiler? Spoiler alert! Spoiler! Spoiler alert! Earmuff hit! Earmuff hit! She decides I'm gonna die to put the soul back in the goof again. So Armageddon doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, it's about
So-
That's cool.
Yeah, of course they got to put their stuff, but they stole it from the Gemara and Nida, from the Talmud of Gemara Nida Daf Yud Dalet
I'm
Amud
looking
Beit.
for some plots and stuff.
They stole it. Okay, they who doesn't steal these
I
days?
have a question. If you have
Misappropriate,
you said there was a possibility for a Jewish soul to reincarnate into
Okay, we're
a
done.
Gentile soul.